Hey, how are you? I'm Benny P. I'm editor-in-chief of Rhyme Beat. This is a Patreon exclusive video. If you've ever watched the Criterion channel, it's a institute dedicated to preserving just films from all across the world and different decades that may be more unique and important. They do these things where artists, celebrities, what have you, go and pick out DVDs from their closet. It's called the Criterion Closet. I ain't popular enough to do that, but I just bought a bunch of Criterion stuff. It was all on like 50% sale. So I wanted to share what I bought with you, similar to the Criterion Closet in a sense. I'm just gonna pick stuff out of the bag. We started with the Koker trilogy. This is from Iranian director Abbas Kiarostami. I've never seen any of these films. They're supposed to be very, very beautiful, human, just like immersive stories. And I've never seen actually any Iranian films, so I wanted to open up my mind a little bit. The three films are Where is the Friend's House and Life Goes On and Through the Olive Trees. Next is a documentary by David Lynch called Lynch Oz. To be honest, I heard this is kind of mid, but it was 15 bucks. I love David Lynch. Wizard of Oz is probably the first film I remember seeing in full, so I felt like, why not? I also got this one called David Lynch, The Art Life. This is more with him and his friends at his studio, and this interviews came out in 2016. It's supposed to be a look into his process. Another documentary we got is Hoop Dreams. I love hoops. I love documentaries about humans. I figured, why not peep this one? I haven't seen it, so let's try it out. A lot of these are ones I haven't seen that maybe are like inaccessible or difficult titles to find. So when I found them for like 20 bucks on Blu-ray, I was like, hey, why not take a gamble? For instance, this is Greg Araki's Teen Apocalypse trilogy. It's supposed to kind of be this explosion of like hyper-violence and hyper-sexualized characters in what's called the new queer cinema movement of the 90s. Punk scuzz, submersive hormone-fueled films that push 90s indies cinema. Totally fucked up. The Doom Generation, Nowhere are the three films. Ain't ever seen these. Why not? I have seen this. This is Parasite. Arguably one of the best films of the past 10 years. When a film can make you like cry, laugh, be scared, be tense, be at ease, but still maintain your energy and focus through the whole duration of it, that's that one. That's a good one. That's a great movie. I was slipping. I ain't seen any movies from Melvin Van Peebles. Melvin Van Peebles is a very important director. This is The Story of a 3-Day Pass, Watermelon Man, Sweetback's Badass song, and Don't Play Us Cheap, plus a bonus disc, I think, in the Sweet Badass. The cat's running around in the background. Again, I'm slipping. I ain't seen no Melvin Van Peebles movies, so I said I'm finna watch it. It's winter in Maine coming up. I'm investing in myself. We're watching some Melvin Van Peebles. Daisies. Literally just bought this today. I think this is a Czechoslovakian film from 1966. It's a defiant provocation, an exuberant call to rebellion aimed at those who uphold authoritarian oppression in any form. How are you? Shout out Daisies. Haven't seen it. Haven't seen this. I've seen clips of it. It's Charlie Chaplin's Modern Time. I was gonna get this or City Lights. They didn't have City Lights. Why not? Charlie Chaplin. Federico Fellini's 8.5. This is Italian, subtitles. A lot of these are gonna have subtitles. I think subtitles are really dope because you get to read and watch a movie at the same time. Fellini is supposed to do some really unique, groundbreaking, hilarious stuff in this film. I ain't seen it. It's added to the list. You know the dealio. My Dinner with Andre. Oh, the films. My Dinner with Andre. I have seen this. This is probably the first Criterion I bought recently that made me want to keep buying them. Because when I bought it, I was like, oh yeah, I get why this is a Criterion film. Meaning, Criterion films are notable pieces of storytelling, in my opinion. And this is such a unique slice of life film that is kind of boring in some parts. Like life can be, like everyday conversations can be. But it is so mystifying in how it just keeps you going, and you keep getting intrigued into this conversation. And I think there's a lot of commentary on personal meaning and burnout, and how we all kind of have different lives in this art world, and some are more privileged than others, and often the ones who are more privileged can do more. Interesting film. Friends of Eddie Coyle, haven't seen it. I'm a New England guy, I love Boston. This is in Boston, I wanted to watch it. Paris, Texas. I ain't seen this, but I'm a huge fan of Harry Dean Stanton, mostly through David Lynch works. But Alien as well, for instance. This is Wim Wenders, supposed to be beautiful, haunting, romantic. but sad film. We're keeping it going. Lahane. I ain't seen this one. I've seen The Mirror Shot like 10 times, but I ain't seen this one. Supposed to be a big French film from the 90s. A little violent. I'm definitely gonna peep this. I have seen this. This is House. Nobuhiko Obayashi put their motherfucking foot in this one. I've never seen psychedelia be so humorous and scary. This movie is all over the place. It's about our fears. It's about lust and love and youth. It's about friendship. It's about cats. It's about piano. It's about dancing skeletons. It's about fat shaming. It's about watermelon. It's about everything. This is a great film. Shout out House. I ain't seen this one either. Breathless. Jean-Luc Godard. The trailer actually made me want to watch this. It looks like a really wild, interweaving film. In the 60s, France started really making a lot of wild films that influenced directors all across the world. It's called the French New Wave, and this is supposed to be one of like the early films in that movement. I think Truffaut is another guy who's supposed to be important. Agnes Varda is another French director I'm sleeping on. Melvin Van Peebles, if you remember, actually made a story in France in 1967 called The Story of a 3-Day Pass. It's in French. I'm excited to maybe even compare it to this. Another black and white film and subtitles I haven't seen, but I've heard a lot of good things about. Seven Samurai. Akira Kurosawa is supposed to be one of the greatest directors of all time. Just in seeing like the stills of his films and reading about the plot lines of his films and then looking at when he made these films, I'm like, all right, yeah, this guy clearly has got to be one of the greatest directors of all time. I haven't even seen anything of his work and I already get that energy from him, and it's just exciting to be at 30 years old. I've been watching films since I can remember being alive and still being able to now get into a new director for the first time. And another one that I do want to bring up that I bought is Ikaru. If I mispronounce anything at all across any film background title, my apologies by the way. Ikaru is about an individual who's an aging bureaucrat and he has stomach cancer and he's impelled to find meaning in his final days. This is supposed to be a really powerful film. I mean, this is supposed to be too, but there's a lot of Kurosawa films I just haven't seen, and the reason why I'm dedicating more time to talking about his stuff even though I haven't seen it is because I already feel like touched by his films in a way, and I'm so like inspired to see these films, to see an influence of somebody across a lot of generations and directors that I like, see his name keep being brought up, and to know his influence, but have yet to see like the actual works themselves is so mystifying to me. It's like almost like a secret or like a piece of history that I haven't unlocked yet. There's also a couple other movies I really want to see from him. Ran, I think Rashomon is another Kurosawa movie, and then maybe even there's like a dream one that came out later in his life that I'm interested in seeing. Again, really important director. We're nearing the end. Nearing the end. Different Kurosawa. This is Kiyoshi Kurosawa, Cure. I've been watching some Ari Aster films. It was just Halloween, and I was watching horror movies. I saw Ari Aster's Criterion Closet video, and he talked about this film. I think he actually might have talked about that Daisies film as well. It's supposed to be like a really intense movie that you have to watch over and over again to kind of understand. And I like movies like that. One of the most important directors in indie, in DIY, in counterculture cinema, is John Waters. I've never seen a John Waters film in full. So when I saw Pink Flamingos for 1999, I was like, you know what, Savvy. It comes with a documentary about this film. And sometimes when it comes to films, it's not even necessarily what the film's about, even the film itself when you're watching it. It's about the fact that people were able to make something like this. It's the fact that a queer director could be like, fuck it, I'm gonna make whatever deranged thoughts come to my mind into a film. It's why I do enjoy Lynch's art so much, is because Waters is someone who is in the same cloth of like just fucked up, unique. I mean, what does John Waters say? Like, life's short, so you fucked up movie. I think that's really important. So shout out John Waters for this. The last one. I actually watched this recently. It was my first Swedish film I'd ever seen, I believe. The Seventh Seal. This movie is haunting. I say that a lot about films that resonate with me after completion, where stills, characters, moments, themes, feelings I felt watching the movie ripple back to me after the credits have rolled. This film, in the beginning, it really kicks off with a chess match between a knight at the end of the Crusades, right at the beginning of the plague, and the embodiment of death, kind of like the first Grim Reaper I'd ever seen in a film. And they're literally playing a chess game with each other, which is metaphorical right off the rip, and that theme of life and death plays out throughout the whole film. It's a slow film. It looks like almost like Renaissance era-esque Europe. you know, they don't really have connection to me in my daily life. But existentialism is a theme we all go through. Spoiler alert, the idea that even when death comes, we won't get closure necessarily. And this is a perfect film to, I think, end my little list of, my little pile of films on, because films like this remind me why I love watching old movies. People have been thinking about life and death since the first time we've been self-aware and able to share stories, whether it's around fire, hieroglyphics, early print. We're all looking for meaning in our life, and life is fucked up and pretty scary. It's also filled with beauty and so much enjoyment in a sense. We can feel all these emotions within the same hour, within the same day, and that can literally create the knee-jerk response of why? Why are we here? Why are we going through all this? Why do we all accept this? That's a theme that goes beyond movies. That's a theme that hits us in life. That hits us after this video's done. To be reminded of such universal, deep, almost in your DNA truths because of a film is a gift. Movies remind me so much of life because movies come from life. If a movie touches you, remember that life should touch you even more than that. Sometimes we almost need like a filter to experience these things, and a movie's a great job to do that, you know? It could be a lot to experience emotions, so sometimes a movie can really put on screen what your feelings are trying to say. The Seventh Seal embodies the idea of we will never get closure, but it does not mean life is not worth living. Again, shout out storytelling. Shout out human creativity, and I hope you enjoyed this silly, fake Criterion Closet video. Winter's coming up. In my neck of the woods up here in New England, it's getting darker and shit. Take care of yourself. Have things that you enjoy. For me, I love watching movies. Knowing at the end of the day I can post up, get a little litty, watch a film and get lost, it means a lot to me. Keeps me going like in the day when I don't want to necessarily do the healthy routines and shit that make up a balanced lifestyle. Much love again to everyone supporting this page. Much love to everybody going through it. Keep creating. Enjoy the art. Peace.
Rhyme beat?